Why, hello there, Jacob. And with today being November 1st, figure go ahead and kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions on the first month of the Minnesota Wild season. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So yeah, the month of October for the Minnesota Wild has been, well, I don't really think I have to go too far into that, but it's been something. But to be fair, though, I think a lot of Wild fans, or at least me, I can't really speak for all Wild fans, but I think for the most part, Wild fans understood that with Spurgeon being out since the beginning of the season, and Boldy going out like game 2 or 3, it was going to be interesting to say the least. And, yeah. So, yeah, the Minnesota Wild ended October with a 3-4-2 schedule. And, again, like I say, there's only so much you can do when you have a lot of injuries and stuff like that. Plus, you're juggling the cap and this and that and the other thing, and it's been something. We'll just put it that way. It's definitely been something here. But it sounds like Spurgeon is getting closer to return. Boldy could be back as soon as tomorrow when we take on the Devils at home after taking on the Devils in New Jersey. But, of course, special teams strikes again, and that was the difference in that game. But anyway, regardless, that's why I really didn't do a full-blown recap, because I really didn't watch much or hardly any of the game. I just kind of followed the highlights and stuff like that. And again, special teams strikes again. But again, that comes back to injuries. You know. Again, we've already called up guys like Jujhar Khaira's come up. Damon Hunt has been up. Dakota Mermis. Walker. I mean, we've already called up probably 5 or 6 different people back and forth and given them chances and this and that and the other thing. And like I say, I don't think I need to talk to basically anyone who watches more than 3 minutes of Minnesota Wild hockey to explain just how bad the defense has been. Oh, sweet Jesus. Woo-hoo. Yeah, that's been basically a train wreck nightmare, to put it lightly. And, but thankfully, I think when Spurgeon gets back, at the very least, that should settle things down a little bit. You know? And, yeah, because basically when, every third or fourth game you're switching the defensive pairings, if not every game at this point, what do you expect? I mean, because not everybody has the same continuity with each other. And, of course, when you're trying to shuffle lines and shuffle pairings, especially when you're not used to being with said person, you end up with a 3-4-2 record after the month of October. I mean, the Gus Bus has been getting absolutely peppered. So his numbers are definitely a lot worse than they were last year. But again, there's only so much you can do when the team in front of you is giving up 40 to 45 plus shots a night. So yeah, hello darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again because basically the same issues that have always plagued the Wild are plaguing the Wild. Special teams mainly being it. Like I say, I told you guys coming into this season that the Wild special teams is so bipolar, it's not even fun. And then on top of that, you add injuries, and now we're like the 31st ranked penalty kill at just a tick under 70%. I mean, we've let power play goals over the last 5 or 6 games. And this happens all the time with the Wild. It's just frustrating to see. But again, injuries. I'm not ready to write off the season yet because of injuries. I mean, we haven't even played with our full opening night, what was supposed to be opening night roster. So it's just, I don't know how good or bad this team actually is, because again, when half your team is injured and you're literally switching lines every third, fourth, and fifth game, it's just, what do you expect? And of course, because of that, Kirill can't really get going. I will say, though, Hartman has stepped it up big time this year. Maroon has even stepped it up as more of an offensive guy. I mean, Brock Faber looks great. Marco Rossi. Congratulations, buddy. You now actually look like an NHL player. And there's a lot of people in the Minnesota Wild fandom that were basically saying he's already a bust, when I knew for a fact he wasn't, because remember what happened during the COVID year? I mean, the dude very easily could have, that illness could have very easily knocked him out to the point where he could never play hockey again. If not, well, worse. But yeah, anyway, it's just one of those things where it takes time for some guys to develop. And like I say, Rossi is already looking leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds better. Faber's stepped up and taken over that number one defenseman role. Even though if it is starting to kind of fall apart a little bit with him there. But he's a rookie. He's doing the same stuff Spurgeon has been doing. And you're expecting a kid who's literally hasn't even played a quarter of a season yet. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Faber I don't even think he's played 20 regular season games yet. I think he's played 20 games total. And he's already looking this good. So if he can stay healthy and stuff like that, I mean, we might have a future defensive stalwart. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to digest there and stuff like that. So the offense has hope. If we can just keep our lines together and keep getting some continuity with our guys here, I mean, there's enough there to get us going, but it's just with all the injuries and stuff like that, it's hard to tell what you've got when everybody's hurt. So again, I'm just basically hoping that once, the injury bug kind of slows down, once Boldy gets back, Spurgeon gets back, hell, even Middleton, like Goligoski and those guys, once we have our full arsenal of players back, just for continuity-wise, we can finally kick it into gear. But yeah, I mean, that's basically kind of the October wrap-up in a nutshell here. So just basically kind of going over the cliff notes one last time here. Special teams is something that needs to be worked on. The defense has to get better in order to keep, Gustafson from facing 55 to 60 shots every night. And or Fleury, whose numbers are finally starting to kind of even out a little bit here too. And again, we're 9 games into the season. I'm not ready to hit the panic button just yet. So, like I say, the Wild have started off this way, I'd say 2 or 3 of the last few seasons, and we ended up making the playoffs. More so by default, but hey, again, like I say, you can only play the competition you play, and you can only play with the people you have. So, so yeah, that basically just kind of wraps up my general thoughts on the Minnesota Wild and stuff like that. So, hopefully once we get guys back and healthy and stuff like that, we'll be able to push forward, press forward, and, well, continue on, because it sounds like we're about to hit a pretty tricky stretch over these next few weeks, and that starts tomorrow night at home against the Devils. So, yeah. So until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day, and I probably will do partial recap, maybe a short since I work tomorrow and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, like I say, don't panic yet, Wild fans. Don't panic yet.